Hello, so I'm going to try to make this quick, but this is Sustaining Government Benefits and the Older Population and Poverty by Muriel Emerson. Introduction. In our book, it states one of the social problems accompanying aging societies is that programs such as Social Security will not receive adequate funding as societies gain older people and have fewer wage-earning youth. When the United States Act was passed in 1935, not only were the portion of elderly people lower than in current times, but men who survived to age 65 were only expected to live another 12 years on average. Today, 65-year-old men can live up to another 18 years. This shows me that the older population is larger and living longer than ever before. We also have less people putting it into Social Security. You can see how these factors may threaten the sustainability of support programs for the elderly population. I also believe it is the reason the average Social Security benefit is low, making most people, most elderly people anyway, live in poverty. So this is just a quick video I found.
Social Security is the centerpiece of America's retirement safety net. 9 out of 10 retirees and 8 out of 10 current workers are counting on the program as an important source of retirement income. But Social Security faces major demographic challenges that didn't exist when the program started in 1935. Social Security payments to current retirees come primarily from payments into the system by today's workers in the form of a 12.4% Social Security payroll tax, 6.2% each from employee and employer. But because of Americans' longer lifespans and lower birth rates, there aren't enough workers to support the growing number of beneficiaries. In 1955, there were 8.6 workers for each beneficiary. By 1965, that number fell to 4, and in 1975 to 3.2. Today, there are only 2.8 workers contributing to Social Security for each beneficiary, and by 2035, that number is expected to drop to 2.1 and then level off. Based on current actuarial projections, beginning in 2033, Social Security might be able to pay out only 77% of scheduled benefits. However, a new study by researchers from Harvard and Dartmouth suggests that the day of reckoning may come even sooner. What can be done to strengthen the system? Higher taxes are seldom popular, but a recent survey found strong public support for 2 tax changes aimed specifically at Social Security, and strong opposition to any reduction in benefits. One change would be to gradually raise the Social Security payroll tax rate from 6.2% to 7.2% over 20 years. It's estimated that this would reduce Social Security's projected funding gap by 52%. The second idea is to gradually increase or eliminate over 10 years the taxable earnings cap, which is the amount of earnings subject to the Social Security payroll tax. In 2015, earnings up to $118,500 are subject to the tax. It's estimated that raising this amount to $230,000 would reduce Social Security's funding gap by 29%. While eliminating the earnings cap altogether would reduce the gap by 74%. These findings suggest that Americans may be ready to take steps necessary to put the Social Security program on more solid ground. With thousands of baby boomers turning 65 every day and 2016 political races already underway, strengthening America's retirement safety net might finally get the attention it deserves.
Okay, so that's it for that video. So all the following information comes from Coping with Demographic Challenge, Fewer Children and Living Longer, 2006. Social Security Administration Research, Statistics, and Policy Analysis. Social Security Bulletin, Volume 66, Number 4, And there's the website I got it from. So due to some of the reasons I listed on the previous slide and the video, the U.S. Social Security system will face financial challenges in the near future. Declining fertility rates and increasing life expectancies are causing the U.S. population to age. Today, 12% of the total population is age 65 or older, but by 2080, it will be 23%. At the same time, the working age population is shrinking from 60% today to a projected 54% in 2080. Consequently, the Social Security system is experiencing a declining worker-to-beneficiary ratio, which will fall from 3.3 in 2005 to 2.1 in 2040, the year in which Social Security Trust Fund is projected to be exhausted. This presents a significant challenge to policymakers. One policy option that could help keep the Social Security solvent is to reduce retirement benefits, either by raising the normal retirement age or through life expectancy indexing to reflect the fact that people are living longer. However, these reductions in benefits have the potential to harm economically vulnerable retirees. Other options, such as progressive price indexing proposals, explicitly protect the retirement benefits of low life earners. Still, other options would seek to raise additional revenue for the system. Since individuals will be living longer in retirement, many policymakers believe it is important to encourage older workers to delay retirement so that they can maintain a quality standard of living throughout their retirement. One proposal to encourage continued work would be to increase the early eligibility age for the Social Security benefits from age 62 to age 65. This could possibly hurt individuals who would need to retire from physically demanding jobs, but would ensure that people receive higher amounts once they were able to fully retire. Other proposals that could promote work at older ages include expanding phased retirement options and reforming pension and defined contribution system to create incentives to work and save. So background information. This is the chart of a U.S. population by age, selected years from 1950 to 2080. So first we have historically all ages, populations in the thousands. And then we have it broken down by age. You can see it's significant in history. It starts with percentage of 65 older is 8 and goes up to 12. Projected from 2020 to 2080, it's projected to go from 16 to 23% of the population. And then this is the Unisex Cohort life expectancy. At age 65, select years to 1960 to 2060. So, at 65 in the 1960s, on average, you had people living 15 and a half years after, they turned 65, whereas by 2020, the 2000s there, it's 18, and then projected by the time this was done was by 2060, it's projected to be 21.4 years after retirement, after the age of 65. Fertility rates selected years 1946 to 2030. So this just shows the fertility rates historically, and then we have projected. So it kind of levels off in the 90s for fertility rates and stay around 2. So you can see the changes in these graphs. And then we have the worker to beneficiary ratio, selected years 1960 to 2060. So once again, this one, it starts off in 1960s at 5.1 and then just continually goes down. Challenges facing the Social Security program. Rising life expectancy is a positive development in that it gives people more years to enjoy life, but adjustments and adaptations are needed so that people will have the means to enjoy their extra years. Rising life expectancy, along with falling fertility rates, is also a primary cause for the financial difficulties that social insurance systems face in the United States and throughout the world. Under current law, the cost of Social Security will soon begin to increase faster than the program's income because of the aging of the baby boom generation, expected continually low fertility, and increasing life expectancy. The aging of America has created a situation in which relatively few workers will be asked to support a growing retired population. The historical and projected ratios of workers to beneficiaries, measured as the number of workers in Social Security covered employment divided by the number of Social Security beneficiaries. The pattern of those ratios reflects the presence of the boomer generation. The worker to beneficiary ratio is fairly stable in years the boomers are in the workforce, 2008 to 2005, but it's substantially lower when the boomers are in the retirement years, which is 2020 to 2040. Policy options for Social Security. I'm sorry this is going a little longer than I planned. But in the United States, a number of analysts believe that retirement benefits should be adjusted to reflect the fact that people are living longer, a concept referred to as longevity indexing. Edward M. Greenwich, chairman of the 1994 to 1996 Advisory Council on Social Security and a former Federal Reserve governor, argues that a slight cut in the growth of future benefits is a fair way to deal with the fact that retirees are likely to live longer and collect more in benefits than in 1935 when the retirement age was set at 65. Proponents of longevity indexing point to the fact that because people are living longer, yearly benefits can be reduced in a proportion equivalent to rising life expectancy, and average lifetime benefits will remain constant. A number of reforms would achieve the goal of adjusting yearly benefits in proportion to rising life expectancy. The Social Security program currently has a 75-year actuarial deficit to 2.02% of the payroll. In 2080, the system will have a cash flow deficit of 5.38% of payroll. One option to narrow these gaps would be to index initial benefits each year, beginning in 2018, using changes in life expectancy at age 67. This longevity index proposal would yield savings of 0.45% of the payroll over the next 75 years and 1.77% of payroll in the 75th year. These estimates of savings are from the Office of the Chief Actuary of the Social Security Administration and are based on assumptions in the 2005 Trustee Report. A reform proposal by Peter Diamond and Peter Ozag includes an additional life expectancy indexing method that would calculate the proportion of the present expected value of a lifetime benefits for people retiring in 1 year divided by the present expected value of lifetime benefits for people retiring in the next year. This method would yield savings of 0.55% of payroll over 75 years. One difference in the Diamond-Ozag proposal is that the indexing would be split between benefit reductions and payroll tax increases. So that was just a quick look at Social Security.